It's a bit of a long story. 20 years long. It's all right, officer. I'm just waiting for a friend. It's a bit of a long story. 20 years long. Sounds a bit funny to you, doesn't it? Well, I'll explain if you'd like to make certain I'm all right. About that long ago, there used to be a restaurant where this store stands. Big Joe Brady's restaurant.
Until 5 years ago. They tore it down.
Oh. Well. 20 years ago tonight, I dined here at Big Joe Brady's with Jimmy Wells, my best friend, and perhaps the finest man in the world. He and I were raised here in New York, just like two brothers, together. I was 18 and Jimmy was 20. The next morning, I was to start out for the West to make my fortune. You couldn't have dragged Jimmy out of New York. He thought it was the only place on earth. Well, we agreed to meet here exactly 20 years from that date and time. No matter what our conditions might be, or from what distance we might have to come. We figured that in 20 years, each of us ought to have our destiny worked out and our fortunes made.
Sounds pretty interesting. A rather long time between meets, though. Seems to me. Haven't you heard from your friend since you left?
Well, yes. For a time we corresponded. But after a year or two, we lost track of each other. See, the West is a pretty big proposition. And I kept hustling around over it. Pretty lively. But I know Jimmy will meet me here if he's alive. For he always was the truest, staunchest old chap in the world. He'll never forget. I came 1,000 miles to stand in this door tonight. And it's worth it if my old partner turns up. 3 minutes to 10. It was exactly 10 o'clock when we parted here at the restaurant door.
Made your fortune out west, then?
You bet. I hope Jimmy's done half as well. He was always kind of a plotter, though. Good fellow as he was. I've had to compete with some of the sharpest wits. Going to get my pile. A man gets in a groove in New York. It takes the West to put a razor edge on him.
Oh. I'll be on my way. Sure hope your friend comes around all right. Gonna call time on him sharp?
I should say not. I'll give him half an hour at least. If Jimmy's alive on Earth, he'll be here by that time. I'm sure of it. So long, officer.
Good night. Sir?
Is that you, Bob?
Is that you? Jimmy Wells?
Bless my heart. That's Bob. Sure as fate. Yeah, I was certain I'd find you here if you were still in existence. Well, 20 years. That's a long time. Well, the old restaurant's gone, Bob. I wish it lasted so we could have had another dinner there. How's the West treating you, old man?
Bully. It has given me everything I asked it for. You've certainly changed lots, Jimmy. I never imagined you'd grow so tall in my absence.
Well, I grew a bit after I was 20. Thank you.
Doing well in New York, Jimmy?
Moderately. I have a position in one of the city departments. Say, come on, Bob. Let's go around to a place I know of. Have a good long talk about old times, huh?
There was this one smart fellow I met. A reporter. He had this little white dog. And a sailor friend. He was always nosing around.
That sounds quite interesting.
It was. Quite exciting, too. Always something new going on in Chicago. How's that city job of yours?
Well, it's a job. Someone's got to do it.
What is it you do? Hold it, buddy. You're not Jimmy Wells. 20 years is a long time. But not long enough to change a man's nose from a Roman to a pug.
Sometimes it changes a good man into a bad one. You've been under arrest for the last 10 minutes, Silky Bob. You know, Chicago thought you may have dropped over our way. They wired us. They want to have a little chat with you. Hey. Hey. Quietly. Be sensible. Yeah. Now, before we go on to the station, there's a note I was asked to give you. You can read it here in the light. It's from Officer Wells.
Bob, I was at the appointed place on time. When you lit your cigar, I saw it was the face of a man wanted in Chicago. Somehow, I couldn't do it myself. So I went around and found a plainclothes man to do the job. Jimmy.